Hi, it's Imogen Lamport from Inside Out Style. How does your hair colour affect your palette? For example, if I was to return to my natural dark strawberry blonde or reddy brown colour, would that make a different palette? Currently, I am white. I know lots of people change palette as they go grey, and logically it works the other way around to do. Today my hair is blue. But that doesn't last long because, of course, that is a dyed colour. So if you say, like me, and your hair is going white, if you decide to dye it back, so that's meant I've had to lighten my colours up and soften my colours down a bit. Now, the more white you get, the brighter it becomes, and so it becomes a brighter palette again, rather than if it's much more like the back of my head, which is more kind of steely, then that's a softer palette. So thinking about your hair colour, so if you have a more solid hair colour versus a softer hair colour, you may be able to go for a brighter palette. Now, of course, does that hair colour still work with your skin? And this is one of the things. People often don't realise how much their skin colour changes as their hair colour changes. We notice the pigment disappearing from hair. We don't necessarily notice the pigment disappearing from our skin. And this is often really seen when people dye their hair to their natural colour, like the colour they had when they were 20, when they had dark hair. And their hair just looks really harsh against the skin they have today. And I look back, when I had my black hair, I had that really white skin. I could never buy a foundation white enough. Had very clear white skin, and I had a very solid dark hair color. Now I have much softer skin and a much lighter hair color. My hair is not what it was. So if I dyed my hair back to black, which just even if I pop this black, imagine my hair was this color again. You can see how harsh it is on me. Really doesn't work anymore. So I wouldn't want to dye my hair back to that. So yes, dyeing your hair can give you a slightly brighter palette. If it goes darker, it's going to give you a darker palette than a lighter palette. So, but it can change that palette depending on where you're going. But if you've got a bright white palette, you might find that the intensity doesn't really change. So it can depend if you're just doing a subtle change, like I'm going from, a grey to a light blonde or something, it may not change it that much, versus if you're going, I'm going from a grey to a brown, that's going to change it much more. So something to think about there. And of course, it can also change the way you wear your colours. So sometimes it can just change whether you need a higher value contrast or a higher colour contrast as well. So sometimes it doesn't change the palette, it just changes how you wear your colour depending on where you go with it.